Okay, so just indulge me for a moment. Let's imagine you are that creator being who was able to create all the universe in 7 days. Man, woman, animals, trees, nature, oceans, everything, right? You've done all that, and now the idea is you want everybody to be happy and love each other. And then you think, no, no, I need credit for this. Everybody out there must believe in me. You must believe that I did this. Isn't that a bit petty? I mean, that's like a 5-year-old kid who threw the toys out of his pram. Like, that is just so petty relative to the omniscience and the omnipotence to be able to create a whole universe. Now I need that credit. I need that credit, yo. You better believe in me every day of your life. You better pray to me. You better thank me. It's just... See, I'm getting into it now. Okay, what's up, guys? Paul here, coming at you from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Today with this talking head / podcasty reaction video on Logan Paul. Alright, so I want to get back into these talking head videos. Hopefully get one a week combined with the outdoor cultural interaction videos that I've been doing on the beaches here in Mexico, because I enjoy doing them. Sometimes it's a bit hard to get motivated for them to just sit in your house. Feels like a bit of an interrogation video. Don't know about the aesthetics here on my room. Not amazing, you know, it's a sunny day out here, but the sun doesn't really get into the room here at this time of day. Anyway, the show must go on. Let's get down straight to it, alright? Let's cut to the chase. I want to talk about Logan Paul. No, it's not about his crypto scam, nor his pet pig, right? I'll plead the fifth on those situations. What I do feel I've done a lot of research on is the sky fairy, the idea of God and an intervening God who will punish people for their misgivings and their so-called wrongdoings. And so this is what Logan Paul feels happened to him, as he explained on his recent impulsive episode when he apologized to his Christ-fearing, Bible-bashing podcast mate George Janko. Jamie, roll the clip.
I made some pretty
He's gonna go
pretty
cry.
out of
He's gonna
line
go
comments to George about George's beliefs. And I said, I'm not going to say what I said. I'm not even going there again, because I'll tell you why. The following 3 weeks have been the hardest period of my fucking life. Buddy, God kicked me in the dick as hard as he fucking could. It's soon
We call
as it
that
started
a
happening.
Godsmack.
I went
Godsmack, son.
There's no way. There's no way. We started off in Qatar. I got violent food poisoning.
Oh, before that, camera taken away at the airport.
Oh yeah,
Immediately
$20,000
upon
camera
landing.
taken. We were invited by Qatar. We landed in Qatar. Camera stripped from us. All right, fire. $20,000 camera. All right, no problem.
Which he got.
We got it back a couple days later, but we get to my hotel. It's just little things here and there. Things aren't showing up. We misscheduled. Again, got violent fucking food poisoning. Next day, got alcohol poisoning. Our luggage was delayed, so we had no clothes to get to our events. Qatar was the first time I felt the wrath of God.
So, interesting clip, right? When I was watching it at first, I thought this is just a bit of a bit, a skit, tongue-in-cheek. He's not really being serious, but as you watched it play out, he's quite definitely being serious, albeit in a humoristic way. Humoristic, that's a bit Spanish. Sometimes my English is a bit influenced by Spanish words now. In a humorous way. But he was definitely being serious. I'm not saying he definitely believes that, but he was definitely being serious in the moment. Perhaps kind of trying to curry favor with the majority Christian right of undoubtedly his following, because despite the fact that the atheistic community is growing in the States, it's still far in the minority, and you still really need to pander to the Christian right in America in order to make sure you're placating and ingratiating yourself with your followers. By declaring yourself an atheist, you're going to distance yourself and alienate yourself. In fact, it was kind of interesting and, in fact, a bit offensive, I'll be honest. I'm using that term in a jokey way. I wouldn't be offended by that, but it's a little bit offended as an atheist to hear him say, I'm not a bleeping atheist. Like, as if to be an atheist is a piece of trash, like an absolute scumbag who's like something on the bottom of your shoe. Let me explain what an atheist is. Everybody is an atheist. Every Muslim follower, Jew, Christian is an atheist. And Hindus, and you name it. Look across the whole religious spectrum. Everyone is an atheist. Why? Because there are literally thousands of gods out there, from the ancient Roman gods to the Norse gods. Odin, right? Wednesday is Odin's day. Thursday is Thor's day, the god of thunder, the other Norse god. We still not literally, but symbolically worship these gods through the nomenclature of our weekdays. So, y'all out there aren't believing in those gods anymore, right? So humanity has gone from believing in thousands to hundreds, and it keeps being whittled down and whittled down. We're now down, most people, to one god, save for Hinduism and other polytheistic religions. So everyone's an atheist, right? Because everyone rejects all these other gods, and it's just been reduced to the one god. So I'm here, yes, as an atheist, but you are too. I just believe in one less God than you. So, yeah, Logan Paul was rolling back on his excoriation almost of George Janko's beliefs in Christianity, citing the lots of hypocrisy writ large throughout the Bible, be it misogyny, homophobia. He could have gone on, there's a lot more you could criticize about the Bible. The bloodlust, the blood sacrifice, wearing of a cross, a man dead on a cross, the constant worship of death and blood throughout the Bible. Anyway, let's get into the critique and the idea that a God would punish a man or a woman or a child or anybody for having the temerity to mildly criticize and question this nebulous bearded deity who, to this day, has never actually appeared or shown any tangible sign of his existence. Right, so we're supposed to believe that there's this kind of recalls the George Carlin bit of a God, who will hurt you and punish you and send you to hell and make you burn in hellfire for all eternity. But he loves you. And he needs money. The hypocrisies and the constant contradictions that he's a loving God. He loves all of his creations, but he will punish you for the slightest misgiving, for just questioning and having an open mind, using the rationale and logic which you were bequeathed with at birth. You were given a logically thinking brain. You're supposed to suspend that rationale and logic solely for the belief in the sky fairy, the only proof for which you have is a book written by a bunch of old men off their titties on psychedelics thousands of years ago. So, right, the intervening God, the theistic God, like the one who appears in the Bible, who speaks to Abraham, who speaks to Moses on Mount Sinai and brings up a list of 10 things you mustn't do. He had a list of 10 things, that's what God thought of, among of which you should not be jealous of your neighbor's wife. That seemed a strange one to have on the top 10 list of things you couldn't do. So, yeah, the intervening God who would punish you for that. Do you want to believe in that God? Do you think that's a healthy thing to believe in? Do you think that's a rational thing to believe in? Do you see that as a positive thing? I don't want to believe in that God. I think that's a horrible entity that I want no part of. This God who supposedly sent down the Noachian flood and punished and killed all of humanity, save for a man and his wife and all the animals. The whole story of Noah's Ark is pure warlord destruction. So we grant God this pass for such horrible behavior that he will punish someone. So Logan feels that for criticizing God, he was made sick. He was made a pariah, that somehow God sent CoffeeZilla to unearth his crypto scams, and because his camera was taking him off at the airport. This is such infantile, naive, recency confirmation bias. Thinking that because I criticized God and a few days later some bad things happen, coming up with this unbelievably simplistic cause and effect when, no, Logan, this is what's called a coinky-dink, a coincidence. A sky fairy is not up there watching your podcast and making a list of all the bad things you say and then punishing you. If that were the case, I mean, how ridiculous is it even to get into this? But like, if that's the case, then I'm going to be badly punished. I'm going to be stricken down with illness and plague, and I'll be sent flying down the stairs. Of course, life doesn't work like that. If we're really being honest and rational, if we really sit back and think about it, it makes absolutely no sense. Just look at all the people who are atheistic and live completely happy and healthy lives. Also, look at all the religious people throughout history that have done really evil things in the name of their God, in the belief that their God is the right one. The Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, the constant pogroms throughout the world, the wiping out of the Cathars by the popes in the Middle Ages. They literally just went down to France and just exterminated a whole religion. This has been a constant of religious activity throughout history, of suffering upon the other. Why would that not be punished? Why would questioning a God be punished when you're still being a good, loving person? Isn't that just what God wants, you to love other people? Why is belief so important? Like you saw in the opening bit, why would you, imagine you were the God, let me just repeat that for a moment, after all that amazing creation that you came up with, then think, no, everybody must believe in me on top of that. I need that credit. Like that's such childish behavior, as if a God would be so petty to act and think like that. Also, the idea that he's going to intervene on Logan, isn't he supposed to be like processing and listening to prayers of sick people simultaneously? So in order to go and punish Logan, that means he had to stop and pause the prayers he was listening to. Perhaps some ill people passed away in the meantime. I know this sounds a bit silly, but y'all are the ones, or most religious people are the ones that believe that God's intervening. He's spinning all these plates up there, and then he's intervening on what he hears, what he likes and what he doesn't like. It's just very silly and childish, and you might wonder, why do atheists, proselytize in such a way, force our beliefs down your throats? Well, I don't do that, but if I do hear silly things, I like to try to counter them, because I think we've just evolved way, way beyond such infantile thinking. Look at the scientific and philosophical progression that we've made in the last thousands of years, and yet we still persist with like really deterministic, simplistic views of a God. I saw this a lot in Colombia over the last few months, people believing literally that if God allows it, it will happen tomorrow. Si Dios permite. Si Dios permite, well, why didn't God stop coronavirus? Why doesn't God stop all the horrible things happening every day? If you think he has that ability to intervene and interact, there's no consistency, right? There's this idea that God will help you get your job or get more money tomorrow, or find a new lover, or whatever the thing is. You gotta then match that energy with all the bad things happening. All right, so hope I got my points across here. Like I said, I'm trying to get back into the flow. Didn't have a script here. I went a bit off the cuff. Let me know what you think of Logan Paul thinking he was punished and Godsmacked by God.